Let's start with some questions and answers. What is China's GDP? It's $14.87 trillion. How much is China trust industry worth? It's worth $3 trillion. What percentage of China's economy is the China trust industry? It's 20.17%. What if China loses its trust industry? China will be worth only 80% of its current value. But why would the Chinese trust industry leave China? Because they have no choice and because they can. Hi and welcome. This is TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra. In this video, I will tell you why China is about to lose its prized trust industry. Let's begin. The Chinese real estate sector has grown out as a slayer of Chinese investors, and the Chinese trust industry, which is worth a whopping $3 trillion, is the latest one to bear the brunt of China's devastated economy. Don't be mistaken, Chinese trust companies are in no manner similar to those we see in the West. Chinese companies are more involved in the shady part of the financial sector, also called shadow banking. They can do what a bank can't. Banks are restricted from making certain investments, but such conditions don't apply to trust companies. They can even invest in high-risk companies. Similarly, financial institutions seeking to make under-the-table, off-balance sheet investments also find it convenient to invest in such trust companies. A major chunk of trust firms' money goes to the real estate sector. So these Chinese trust companies bear the investment risk themselves and invest in a wide range of assets, including bonds, stocks, unlisted companies, and local government financing vehicles. Now, experts believe that out of $2.5 trillion in money entrusted to trust companies, 13 to 15% goes straight to China's real estate sector. Annual reports of trust firms show that by the end of 2020, property investments accounted for more than 50% of a few trust firms' businesses. So as China's real estate sector seems to be living on borrowed time, China's trust companies have also started gasping of late. The fall of real estate giant Evergrande came as a turning point for the trust industry, with some trust products that had invested in the developer running default by the end of October, including those of CITIC Trust, the National Trust, China Minsheng Trust, and Everbright Shinglong Trust. The turmoil in the real estate sector has sent the trust industry into a state of dizzy. Huge losses are being reported and investors are being told to wait longer to receive interest. But what does this downsizing of China's trust industry mean for the Chinese economy? Well, the bunch of data accessed by us speaks for itself. China's trust industry has remained the backbone of China's real estate sector. About 70% to 80% of the conduit business, or the business done on the behalf of some other investors through these shady trust companies, involve the sale or purchase of some kind of property. The real estate sector contributes to 25% to 30% of the Chinese economy, and trust companies have remained the biggest contributor to the sector. Expectedly, trust companies are now taking the first flight out of the turbulent sector in the quest to park their money in safer assets. And that's only going to make things worse for the already battered and bruised Chinese economy. Hence, to stave off the intensifying crisis, China is now pressing its traditional banks to lend more money to developers to avoid defaults and paint a rosy picture of China's economy. Reuters reported on Monday that financial regulators in China have told the banks to specifically accelerate approval of loans to develop projects and to ensure that outstanding loans to project development show positive growth in their loan books in November as compared with October. Accelerating construction activities is a low-hanging fruit that China exploits routinely to keep its growth numbers up and running. By asking banks to invest more in China's crawling real estate sector, China risks losing whatever it is left with. Xi Jinping is ready to orchestrate another housing boom in China to shore up China's fast plummeting economy. This only shows how short-sighted China's President Xi Jinping is. The short-term gain, long-term pain strategy deployed by the Jinping administration to tackle the real estate sector catastrophe is truly a textbook example of how a nation should not behave in times of crisis.